Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Let's dive into what could very well be the early stages of a parabolic rally, not just for Bitcoin or Ethereum, but for a whole class of altcoins that are finally waking up from their long slumber. Now, I'm not saying every coin's about to moon overnight. Let's be real. Some of these tokens are just never going to take off, and that's okay. But if you're positioned correctly and doing your homework, the next few months could be absolutely insane for your portfolio. The information provided in this video blog is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Cryptocurrency investments are high risk and volatile, and you should always conduct your own research before making any financial decisions. I am not a licensed financial advisor, and all opinions expressed are my own personal views. Always consult with a professional financial advisor before investing, and never invest more than you can afford to lose. This content may include mentions of projects or tokens I hold or follow closely, but it is not sponsored unless explicitly stated. Viewer discretion is advised. And that brings us to Zebec Network, ZBCN. This is one of those under-the-radar plays that's been quietly building, even while the broader market has been on edge. If we scroll through the crypto rankings, specifically the coins ranked between 101 and 200, this is the zone where a lot of future 10x to 50x altcoins are hiding. Not yet top tier, but not microcaps either. It's the sweet spot for asymmetric opportunities. Now, let's not sugarcoat it. ZBCN was down just over 4% today. You'll see that red candle on the charts. It doesn't look good in isolation, but zoom out a bit and you'll realize that the sentiment surrounding ZBCN is still incredibly bullish. Just 2 hours ago, the team posted a tweet, changing the way money moves. Programmable pay lets you pay for anything by the second, minute, or hour, powered by ZBCN. That post got instant traction, 458 likes, dozens of reposts, and replies. So, what does that tell us? Despite the current dip in price, investor interest is still there. The community isn't panicking. They're not jumping ship. That kind of engagement during a price drop speaks volumes about the strength of belief behind the project. Token unlocks, the hidden sell pressure explained. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, token unlocks. ZBCN hasn't been bleeding because it's a weak project or the devs are ghosting. The dip is linked to scheduled token unlocks. This is something I've covered in multiple previous videos, but it bears repeating because a lot of newer investors don't fully understand how unlocks work. Every 15th of the month, like clockwork, a portion of ZBCN's total supply gets unlocked. This has been scheduled to occur all the way until March 2026. Yes, you heard that right. Every month until early 2026, we're going to see a predictable influx of supply hitting the market. And every time that happens, there's a risk of added sell pressure, however, especially from early investors and team members who are taking profits or rotating into other opportunities. But here's the silver lining. The unlock schedule is public and predictable. There's no surprise, no rug pulls, no silent dilution. It's transparent, which gives savvy investors time to position themselves. So let's fast forward to March 2026. Once that final unlock happens, ZBCN will no longer have that artificial ceiling. The sell pressure essentially disappears. Combine that with the increasing institutional interest and growing use cases, and this could set the stage for a massive re-rating of the token. I'm talking about potential exponential growth if everything aligns. Bullish market, solid dev team, community engagement, and external partnerships. Why I'm still bullish on ZBCN? Look, I've been covering ZBCN on this channel for a long time now. We were talking about this project back when it had a market cap of just $75 million. Back then, it was almost unknown, flying under the radar. But if you were around during that time, you saw it explode. ZBCN went as high as $540 to $550 million in market cap at its peak. That's a massive move. And guess what? It wasn't fueled by hype or Elon Musk tweeting about it. This was organic momentum built on use case, partnerships, and community belief. But again, nothing in crypto, or in any financial market for that matter, goes straight up forever. We saw a retracement. It came down from those highs and consolidated. And that's normal. It's healthy. If ZBCN had skyrocketed all the way to a $2 billion valuation without taking a breather, we would have seen a much more violent crash. So what we got instead was a nice orderly correction. That tells me we're dealing with more sophisticated holders, people who understand the game, people who take profits without causing panic and stick around for the next leg up. New listings and growing accessibility. Let's talk about CoinSpot. On July 14th, CoinSpot officially listed ZBCN. Now I know what you're thinking. CoinSpot isn't Binance or Coinbase. And you're right, it's not a top-tier exchange. But the key here isn't about one listing, it's about momentum. Every time ZBCN gets listed on a new platform, it becomes easier for more people to buy. And that's huge. Because when Binance eventually does list ZBCN, and I believe it will, that's when the real fireworks show begins. By that time, the groundwork will have been laid. More users will be familiar with the project, the community will be stronger, and the liquidity will already be there. The fact that exchanges are starting to pay attention, even the smaller ones, means ZBCN is on their radar, and the direction is clear. More access, more exposure, more volume. Community sentiment. The bulls are holding strong. Now let's take a quick dive into what the community is saying. These aren't just random internet comments, these are signs of growing conviction. Pirates do not get rocked off the boat. ZBCN, these are major opportunity dips. Once companies start to realize what ZBCN is accomplishing, adoption will be inevitable. Payroll, the biggest call in 10 years. Zebecians will be rich. That last one might be a bit tongue-in-cheek, but there's a grain of truth to it. The community believes in the long-term vision. They're not flinching over a few red candles. They understand that ZBCN is playing the long game. ISO compliance by the end of 2025, continual product development, and protocol upgrades. ISO compliance and institutional integration. ISO 2022 compliance might sound like boring financial jargon, but it's a game changer. This protocol is being adopted by institutions and central banks around the world to standardize cross-border payments and messaging systems. Once ZBCN becomes compliant, which they're aiming for by late 2025, it opens the door to massive integration possibilities. This could mean institutional use cases for payroll and treasury management, partnerships with banks or fintech companies, whitelisting for regulated investment platforms. ZBCN is positioning itself ahead of the curve, and that makes all the difference. Price action, technical levels, and chart breakdown. Let's get into the technicals. The chart tells a very interesting story right now. ZBCN is currently sitting just above a critical support level around 0.31 cents. And here's the exciting part. We're forming a triple bottom pattern at this level. Now, if you're unfamiliar with chart patterns, let me break this down. A triple bottom often signals that the asset has found a strong floor, a base from which it could launch higher. The fact that we've bounced off this zone multiple times shows that there's real buying interest here. Smart money is accumulating. There's still resistance ahead, first at 0.73 and then again at the 0.0042 level. But once we break through those, the path becomes much clearer for a run back toward previous highs and beyond. I've also been using the Trade Assist indicator lately. It's still showing that we're in bearish momentum dating back to June 29th. But that's expected. We're not fully out of the woods yet. Once we break through those resistance zones, I expect the indicator to flip to bullish. When that happens, historically speaking, it has often preceded massive upside moves. Final thoughts. Why I'm accumulating ZBCN. So bottom line, am I worried about ZBCN's recent price dip? Not at all. In fact, I'm doubling down. This is one of those tokens where I'm playing the long game. I'm not trying to time every pump and dump. I'm looking at the macro trends, the unlock schedule, the exchange listings, the community sentiment, and the product roadmap. This is a project that has a live working product, real user adoption, ambitious but realistic goals, a passionate, active community, transparent communication from the team. And let's not forget, the tokenomics are structured for sustainability, not hype. Yes, there are unlocks, but they're public, they're manageable, and they give you entry opportunities every single month. So if you're still on the fence about ZBCN, take a moment and ask yourself, where else can you find this combination of potential, fundamentals, and timing? This could be the beginning of something truly massive. And as always, not financial advice, just my thoughts. Do your own research, stay sharp, and don't chase green candles. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more ZBCN updates.